Hello everyone, my name is Rajesh Kumar and I'm your DevOps SRE DevSecOps coach. I have close to 18 plus years of experience working in multiple MNCs around the globe and having in-depth knowledge of DevOps, SRE and DevSecOps. So I would like to introduce you one certification program in a DevOps, and that is we call it DevOps Certified Professional. Now this is a 2 months of program, 25 tools of DevOps you will learn, and apart from that you will also get the access to the LMS, lifetime access to the videos portal. It's a certification program, and you will have 25 assignments and 2 projects along with it. It's a completely weekend program, so here you have classes on Saturday and Sunday. So as part of this course, you will learn multiple things. Here you see that you will learn Linux, AWS, Docker, Jira, Confluence, Python, Git with GitHub, SonarQube, Maven, Gradle, Packer, Artifactory, Selenium, JMeter, Ansible, Kubernetes, Helm, Terraform, Jenkins, Datadog, Splunk, and Neuralink. Now, how do we, apply for this? So how can you reach out to us? So you have a WhatsApp number and email ID. So please reach out to us, and we'll help you to onboard this program. Apart from this DevOps certified professional programs, we are offering other certifications as well in a DevSecOps, SRE, and one of the very comprehensive programs which we have is in Master in DevOps Engineering. Yeah, so feel free to get in touch with us and then enroll for it. Thank you.
All of you?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So how do we resolve the conflict? Next topic. So guys, Git is very smart. Git try to solve many conflicts their own, but there are some conflicts which they cannot do that. That's where that your input is required. So conflict like there is only one file and which modifies the two branches, but the lines of modification is different. Some, let's say, code one branch, same code, there is a three parameters been used for the same line of the code. Another branch, same code, there's a two parameters. So these are logical changes. Git cannot solve these issues. So what do we do? In this case, you have to do the manual conflict resolution. How do we do that? So let's first create a conflict. So there's a branch called master right now, and I'll go for VUI t1.txt. Okay, and this file, I'll just modify this age line 8. Okay, and this is line 8, 9, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so these are the three lines which I copied in this code. This is the code, any lines, any parameters, or stuff like that. So 8, 9, 10. Save it. And I'll commit it also. Add and commit. Find it. I committed this one. Okay. t1.txt. Now I'll go to the v1.txt in the another branch also. Something similar I do. And here also I'll write line number 8, 888, line number 9, 999, line number 10, and this is. So of course there is a change in the line. You know that. Okay, line 1, 2, 3 of the branch 1 and branch 2 are different. So this now I will commit, add and commit, add. Now I'll go back to the master branch because that's how its main branch is exactly. So git merge, git checkout first. Now I'm in the master branch. So now I'll merge phi1 and it's easier. Now here you see conflict, merge conflict in phi1.txt. Automated merge is failed. Fix conflict and then commit the results. So now if you see that there is some conflict, so it will be shown like this. If you run the git status, you will see that which file got problems, which is, just ignore this file because last time I did the cherry picking, right? So because of 9, 7, 9, 10 did not come this time, they are trying to come. There is a conflict. Okay. So what do we do? Just open up a file in editor. See here. So they are saying, hey, this is from the head, means current branch, and this is from the phi1 branch. Which one you want? Whether you want this one or mix of something. So you have to modify the code and tell git, okay, so delete this line, and this line, and let's say you want this line, 8, this line, and this line. So now you have concluded I want line number 1 from the head, line number 2 and 3 from the feature, and then save it. So this is the manual stuff. Only human can do that. Now git add dot and git commit resolve. Manually I resolve this. Git has an understanding of it, and you see that from master merging to merge. And now if I try to again merge the phi1, that conflict will not be shown because Git always know that you had a manual merge on this. So guys, did you understand that? How do we resolve the conflict in Git? All of you?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. So now this is the conflict resolution. Now, what is a pull versus fetch? You need to understand this. So let me remind you, what are the different types of branches? Local and remote. So in order to understand this pull versus fetch, you need to understand this is a one repository. This is a one repository. So this repository, what we are drawing left side, that is a local repository. That's your repository. And this repository, which you are drawing right side, is a remote repository. Remote repository located at which place for us? Which place? Anyone?
GitHub.
GitHub. Yeah. So we have a remote repository. Now, I told you there are two types of branches we have, local and remote. So this repository will have one branch, which is local branch. And then here we have a remote branch, RB. Okay. So now the question was, what is the pull versus fetch? So what is happening? Pull is equal to, understand this, pull is equal to fetch plus merge. Yes. So what happens? When you pull it, then from the remote repository to remote branch, the code is coming, and from the remote branch, then it merging to local branch. So that pull, this is called fetch, and this is called merge. Okay. So when you fetch, so only the code is coming from the remote branch, remote repository to remote branch. And when you say pull, then it is coming from the remote repository to remote branch and merging to local branch. Now, which one you should do, whether you should do pull or fetch. So first you should try fetch always. As per the practice, you should try fetch. And then after that, you check out the code of remote branch and see if all the code is good. And if you're satisfied with the code, then only merge back from the remote branch to local branch. How to merge, I just taught you. Are you understanding, all of you?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. So please remember that again. Let me show you that again branches if you forgot. Git branch hyphen a all. See, this is the remote branch. This is the master branch. If you push this branch, then this will create it for the V1 also. But I have not never pushed this branch. That's the reason you are not getting it. That remote reference for that. So here remote branch will be reference for the local branch when you do the push and pull against the remote repository. So please always remember that.
So Rajesh, when remote branch changes go into remote repository?
Ah, yes. When you push it again, when you push that, so what happens? Automatically, this get merged to here. There's no approval required, and then it get pushed to this remote repository.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the reason I said remote branch is a read-only purpose for sharing the code between the remote repository and local branch. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so always remember this concept. Process is you should not pull it because pull is dangerous. What happens? Remote repository, you have some code which has the code which you don't like it to be applied on the your own code. So in that case, what will happen when you pull it? It will do the fetch plus merge, and it will spoil your code, and then you have a no other way but to revert and reset or something like that. So that is not good practice. So follow the practice, it will help you. Okay, so now next question is what is a git ignore? So git ignore is not a command. Okay, git ignore is a file. So let me show you here. So git status. Now my workspace in the master branch is free. That means everything is whatever I had, it's committed. So now what I'm going to do in the workspace, in the Git workspace, in the Git, we have only one workspace. So I modify the code here, whatever you want to modify, and then you build it same place. Every day you build 20, 30, 40 times. Depends on how many times you modify the code. So when you build the code, then you get the binaries file, GIF file, class file, DLLs files. You know that. So that directly get created, something like a build. Okay, sorry, and touch build a.exe, something like that. You get it. 2.exe, something like that. You get the binary file. Now you have status. Now the build is coming here, and now if you do add a dot and commit, this will get committed too. So do you want to commit the binaries as well? What do you think? All of you? Hello, I'm audible.
Yeah.
So do you want to commit the binaries also?
No.
I don't think we commit binaries.
Hmm. So how do we ignore it? By mistake, if the binary is there, sometime by mistake add a dot or all and commit will happen. So how do we ignore it? And for that, we have one file which is given by Git, and that's called git ignore. So what to do? Let's create this file which is not there. So vi git ignore. This is a case sensitive in terms of naming convention. It should be dot git ignore. You will find this file everywhere actually. And here, if you want to ignore directory or files, it can be relative path. So right now my relative path is build. So just fix it. Build and like this, save it. And now git status, if you see, dot git ignore is coming because it's just added, but build is not coming. You can also add the git ignore dot git ignore. So that way, those files and directories will not be used for the adding by Git and not be using for committing also. So this is one of the file to specify which files to ignore and which files to not ignore. Now, next topic is stash. What is stash? So, so just let me get us some water. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay. So what is stash? So let's say I was working on bug number 256. Okay. So for that I'm modifying the code. So I'm modifying the multiple code. So vi v2.txt. This is the file which I modified. I'm writing a code. That's my special code. Saving the code. Modifying the v3 also for this. For bug, this bug. And again I'm writing a code like this. Saving this. And for that one more file, let's add it last one. So see here. And all this code I have written. And now what I did, git add v3 v6 and v6 dot txt. I'm sure about v3 v6 but not sure about v2, so I have not added. Okay, and still I'm working on it. The work is in progress. And in that case I have two files which is staging and one change is in the workspace. So far so good, right, all of you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now what has happened, suddenly my manager came and said, Rajesh, there is one urgent patching has to be done and that has to be done in next 30 minutes only, because the client is complaining about it. So now what to do, because I have only one workspace. The other workaround what you'll do, you will clone the whole repository in a different directory and lots of setup of your environment. You'll do this path to that path and many things will change the dev environment altogether. But that is not something which will give you the permanent fix. So in a Git, we have only one workspace which you set it up properly, and same time you have not, if you're not sure this code is okay or not, you don't want to commit also, and we don't want to lose also. What you'll do, right now it's very easy to copy this file, okay, but in a real time you'll not be having 3 files, you may have 20 files, 30 files. It's very time consuming copying only the files, okay. It's like a lots of frustration and time consuming. Now what to do? So I'm going to take all these changes to the temporary area, and that we call it a stash. Okay, that we call it stash. How do we do that? Let me show you. So git stash hyphen hyphen list. See, not hyphen hyphen, I think list only. Okay, list show drop and so so how many stash we have? You see none. So now I'm going to take my code, which is, you see that in front of again. So these are the code. I'm going to take it to the temporary areas, and that is, how can you do that? So command is dash enter. Now I have taken a stash, every uncommitted code to the stash. I want to show you that is. Now if you see the status, see, so whatever the code which you had modified, existing code, and you don't want to change, I mean, you don't want to lose that file, so it's been taken to stash. Why dot git ignore has not been taken to stash? Because git has no record of it. So git is not bothering on that. So only file which has been committed or is in stage, git will bother. Okay. So now what to do? So you will start working on the code which you think as per the patch request, hot patch request. You will modify the code, commit the code, and push the code, and then patching will take place, release will take place, and then you want to come back to your real work after some time. So how do I do that? So here git stash apply, but it's a, you can stash as many times you want, and this is the number, paste it, enter, and you see that here all the codes which you not committed, now you got it here. Understood what is stash now? All of you?
No, actually, it would be better if you can give me a brief again.
That's what I said. Stash means you are working on the code and you don't want to commit. And same time, you want to clean your workspace. Maybe you don't want to work now on that further, but you want the workspace to be clean for the other bug fixing or other work. So stash it. Whatever the code you have changed, that will go to the some temporary locations, and you want that code in future, you can stash apply and get back.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
So why can't we do cherry picking?
I must remind you, cherry picking we do that after the commit while merging the two branches. Here I'm not talking about the commit at all. Here I'm talking about the code which I don't want to commit and I want to
So
save it.
so the committed files are not stashed, right? Only the in progress work is stashed.
Yes, only the non-committed file will be stashed. Committed file anyways you have in repository, no?
Okay, so we haven't pushed it yet.
Pushing is very far. I'm not committed it. Pushing is a different. Commit will go to the repository. Remember the concept of workspace, staging, and repository.
Yeah, so two files which we have committed already, they won't go to stash, right?
I'm not committed. I think you're deviating from the fundamental actually. So I think you should go
So
for the
you
first session
updated
again.
three files. You updated three files, committed two, and one
No,
was
no.
no, no.
See, I
Okay,
never committed any files. Look at this.
okay, okay.
I'm talking about the stash is for the, in one word, if you want me to define, stash is a command to save your uncommitted changes to some temporary locations and get that when you need it later.
Okay.
Okay, so now this is a git stash. Any questions, guys? Anyone have any questions? Okay, so some of the things I want to share with you, and this might need you, I feel, you know, and this is called git flow. Okay, so where's the git flow? So this is at the conceptual level. So how do we work with git? So working with local repository we have covered. That means we have a one workspace, staging area, and repository. Working with central repository also we have covered. That is with the GitHub. Now working with the feature branch, git flow and forking, which I would like to forking also I have covered. Git flow mainly I want to talk about. So are you comfortable with this image, right? All of you?
Yes.
Yeah. So this was the local repository, and this is central repository which we have worked. Pull request also have covered, which is for feature branch. I want to ignore it, and I want to talk about the forking also has covered, and I want to talk about git flow. So anyone have a question on forking, pull request, or something like that? Okay. So let's start understanding the git flow. So what is the git flow? So I'll put it in this way. Git flow is a best practices. Okay. Git flow is like a in a Git we have a best practices. How to branch. What are the naming conventions to do? All these things are best practices. But many people are, they are not following the best practices because of many other reasons. So then there is one tool which has been developed by Vincent. Okay. So he has developed one tool and he call it Git flow. So Git flow basically, when you install this tool, then Git flow basically will help you to how to branch and from where to branch, what are the naming convention has to be given, and all these things will be talked about by this tool itself. So basically, they will enforce you to follow the best practices. So Gitflow is a Git workflow implementing tool that helps with continuous software development and implementing DevOps practices. It was first published by and made popular by Vincent at Neve. The Gitflow workflows define the strict branching model designed around
If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video.
Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest.
Thanks for watching.